Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to my channel, and today in this video we are going to look at working with responses inside Inertia.js. So in Inertia there are primarily two ways we can return a response. One is using the facade that we get, which is Inertia render, and also there is a helper function which is Inertia. Now we have done this a couple of times in our application so far. So if I show you my code base, let us go inside app http controllers, and we have home controller and profile controller, right? So both of them, if you see, are using the Inertia helper function. And as I told you just now, there are two ways. One is we use the facade or we use the helper function. Now internally, the helper function is also using the facade, because if you see, this helper function first gets an instance of Inertia, okay, and then if it finds the component, then it does an instance dot render. So it is the Inertia instance, and then it gets the it runs the render method, which is very much what we are doing over here as well. So just for the sake of understanding and ensuring both the responses are going to be similar, so I'm on the home page. This is the profile. Why don't we go inside our profile controller, and instead of doing an Inertia helper function thing, we will do a render. So Inertia, and for some reason Inertia, right? Yeah, Inertia, and then we do render. I was about to say that for some reason it doesn't detect Inertia, but I think on my Windows machine there's some different kind of a problem. So I was trying this code before we record, and it was not working, the autocomplete inside VS Code. Anyways, so yeah, so we have this, and if you refresh this page, you will see nothing has changed. So we literally have one controller which is using the helper function, and the second one is using the render method. Now, apart from just sending the data through props, there can be situations where we do want to send something to the root template. What is our root template over here? If I go over here, this is my app.blade.php, which is my root template. So for example, if I go to the browser, can you see this is the horrible browser title that is coming up? And if I want to control that, okay, maybe what I can do is there's one function available which is with view data, and because this is an array, I will do page title, and I'll pass a profile like this, and maybe over here. So I have all these things, and then I'll have my title tag. Now we can literally do something like page title, something like this. And now can you see, this is showing the title, welcome to my profile page. I'll add that same thing on the home page as well, and you can literally copy this, add it to that helper function, and nothing is going to change. If I go to my home page now, this is welcome to my profile. I'll change that, maybe welcome back. That's about it. So yeah, so on home it says welcome back Inertia.js test application, and on profile it says it doesn't say that. If I refresh, well, it refreshes. So I have a feeling when we go into the section of title and meta, because this is something which the Inertia.js framework or the library needs to change, so maybe it is not happening in that particular way. But yeah, we will get into that. But you know that when it comes to server-side generated pages, you are able to do these things. Okay, so yeah, this is the first thing that I wanted to show you in terms of responses. Now responses can be where you return a view, a blade, not a blade template, but a Vue.js, React.js, or a Svelte based component, right, as your page component. Or many a times you will also send a redirect response. And that's what we will cover in this video as well as the second part. So this is something which you need to understand, that inertia will always expect that a response is sent in a way which the inertia is able to understand. So a very bare minimum thing is what we have done so far, which is these kind of responses. But there are also redirects, and redirect, if is to a page which is an inertia page, then it is fine. Otherwise, it can create a problem. So let me show you how. So let's just say we go into our web.php and I create a new route over here, which is a post route called test route. I'll delete this later on because I don't need that, but this is just for a demonstration purpose. And in here, maybe what I'll do is logger request all. Okay. Now I'll go into my home page, home.view. I have 3 links over here. So maybe I'll copy a little bit of code from here and paste it. Let me get rid of this, please, first of all. And my route name is test. So I'll do test. I'm sending some data. Okay. And I'll say here that the method is post. Something like that. Okay. Let's go to our home page now. Okay. So I have send data. If I click on it, nothing happened. Let me see the log file. Doesn't open. I think that's because it's ignored. So I'll just clear it once and then try again. So send data. And I can see that the data is being sent. The data which we are sending is through this data attribute that we have seen earlier. We can send JSON data through a link tag, and we can fake any method. So we are sending post data to a post route which is called test, and right now it doesn't have a problem. But let's just say for some reason I have a blade file which is test.blade.php, and what I do over here is return test. Okay, so I'm returning the test blade. Now let's see what happens. So I am doing a send data, and can you see a pop-up comes up and it is showing the blade file content. Now this is really not something which we want, right? Because we don't want to show a new page content as a pop-up. So what happens is Inertia intercepts all the responses, and if it doesn't find a response, whether it is something which I'm returning through these two kinds of responses or even through redirects, if it doesn't understand that, it will show it in a pop-up. Even a lot of exceptions does come as pop-ups. I'll show you. Let me see if I'm able to break that in a way. What if I do a put? I think it should raise an error, exception. Yep, method not allowed. Can you see? This is a default exception that Laravel created, and the problem is Inertia doesn't understand that. And because it doesn't understand that, the exception is raised inside this pop-up. So you need to understand that if at any point of time your application is showing content in a pop-up, that basically means Inertia doesn't have a clue what kind of response it is. But when it comes to redirects, we can see that we can redirect to, let's say we don't redirect a view, return a view, but we return, so this to route. okay, which is slash, or maybe we do profile because we will be on the home route. Okay, and I'll just refresh and do send data. It says method not allowed. I think my code hasn't changed yet. Home, and this is post, refresh, send data, profile not defined. Why? This is profile. Web.php. Okay, it doesn't need the slash, so maybe that's why it was complaining. But you can see I can redirect to a URI which has an inertia response. It will understand that, right? It will do its thing. So if I show you the log, there are quite a few logs over here. Let me clean it up. Go to home, send data. I'm on the profile page, and on the logs file, I can see the information was there. So these things are working, and Inertia, because it understands the response of profile, it is able to show you the content. But the last thing in here, which is if after the form submit you really want to take the user to an external link, there is also a way, which is return Inertia. Is it imported? No. So Inertia and location https://amitavroy.com. So let's just say the user sends something as a post request, and on success I'm taking the user to an external location, which is my own domain. So that is how you can redirect a user to an external domain from your application built in Inertia. But yeah, that's about it, guys. That's what I wanted to cover in this video. We saw how we can send responses in two different ways, and we saw how the Inertia's redirect system works. We saw how if it understands the response, it will show inside the proper application, but if it doesn't understand your response, whether it is a redirect or it's a return view, it will show it in a pop-up. We also saw that the exceptions which Inertia doesn't understand, because this is not an Inertia response, it shows up in a pop-up, right? So yeah, that's about it. If you like this video, do click on the thumbs up icon. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel.